in the car. We're off to the airport and we're going to film a crazy way. So let's get on with it, shall we? It's quite early. Let's go. I'm in the woods somewhere in France with Jim French. Jim, where are we?
We're in the Alps, just outside Chanteloup, a little village I live in down there. We're at an altitude right now higher than Ben Nevis, so anyone in the UK is lower than us.
Oh.
Yeah, it's very mountainous, very rusty, very, very rural.
So, you obviously have got a gun on your lap.
Yep.
And as I hear, you are a licensed French hunter, maybe one of only two in this whole part of the world.
Yeah, I'm not aware of any other English. There's obviously loads of French guys.
Yep.
Who are passionate about their hunting. And as far as I know, there's two English. There could be more, but I've not come across any. So it's a rare thing to live here in this environment and become part of the local hunting team. But it's seen as a harvest. It's not seen as a sport. It's something to fill the freezer to feed them.
Brilliant. Now, you've not always lived out here, have you? You're from Romford originally?
I used to live in a normal place, yes, with roads and telephone, electricity, stuff like that. But I lived out here 8 years. Do building, property renovation and maintenance. We look after chalets and stuff. There's lots of people here come here skiing and hiking and cycling. Tour de France comes through the valley, so it's a pretty good place to be.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
If you're into your sports and your outward bounds, it's the place to come to for your holidays.
And if you need somewhere to stay, your number is. So we're here to ask you a little question, because you went climbing, hiking up these mountains, and you came down very quickly in a bit of a snowball.
Yeah, I was hunting
what happened?
one day on the mountain dead opposite over there, and we were some way up. It'd been snowing for a few weeks, and we were confident with a guy who's lived here all his life, hunted here all his life. It's a place we'd been before, and all of a sudden avalanche. It took me off the mountain, and the snow finished falling across the front of the boots of the guy I was with. It was no further away than you are now.
Yep.
So 6 foot away he stood standing, everything in front of him, rocks, trees, and an Englishman disappeared in a huge avalanche off down the mountain.
Oh.
Not something I would recommend or want to repeat.
No. So silly question, but what did that feel like inside that much snow?
Terrifying. I thought twice I was dead. Couldn't breathe, couldn't move. The weight of the snow, the crushing. I like to think I'm a pretty, tough, robust guy, come hunting, and couldn't move any part of my body. And I remember the snow under my eyelids pulling, and I thought my eyelids were going to rip off.
Oh.
And the snow's down my throat. I was trying to push the snow out with my tongue. My tongue was the only bit I could move. And then I hit something, and I flipped over, and the impact emptied me of the snow, for want of a better word, and my breakfast. And I was able to gasp for breath, and then went back under the snow again. I thought, I'm not dead. And then, same scenario, more snow, can't breathe. And I thought, this is it, you're dead now. No one comes out of this. And unbeknown to me, the avalanche had come all the way down and into the forest. And the snow hit the big pine trees, which broke it up.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it stopped. And the snow wasn't as tight around me. And I was sick. And the sick went that way. So I worked out that digging that way would be sensible, because gravity, I think, works inside snow. I dug my way out and I was in the pine forest.
Wow. Were you badly injured?
I was battered and bruised. I damaged my leg. I cracked and tore my sternum. Lost quite a lot of clothing.
Fair enough.
But my word, I've never been so pleased to see a pine tree.
Yeah.
It was an amazing moment. And the guy I was with was way up on the mountain screaming and screaming. And I called out finally when I managed to compose myself and get over the I'm alive thing.
Yeah.
And he then came down, and the first minute we just stared at one another when he arrived, because it was like I was meant to be dead.
Yeah.
And then he said, it was a beautiful phrase, I remember forever. He looked at me, a French guy, and in his lovely French voice he said, Jim, We need to go, it is dangerous here.
Yeah, you found that out firsthand. Jim, as a Christian bloke, how did that affect your faith, that experience, coming down a mountain like that?
I should have died without a doubt. That day, 5 other people died in the area. It was a bad day to be out in the snow, the temperature had changed,
Yeah.
there was avalanches. I should have died, no doubt about it, I should have died twice.
Yeah.
I didn't. Why didn't I don't know. I got God to thank for that. Hopefully, there's a plan there somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm sure there is, but
You're alive.
I'm alive. Yeah, for
That's
sure.
powerful. Thanks for sharing it with us.